Your friends are gonna hate me for this video if they're investors or their friends that are talking about you have to buy the property, you're gonna be dealing with cleaners, you're gonna be dealing with nasty guests. No, let me tell you about rental arbitrage, guys. I started back in 2016. I don't own a single piece of property. And I'm gonna share with you the real truth of how this works and how you can implement this in your life right now, no matter what your why is. So what it is Airbnb arbitrage? It's just a fancy way of saying we don't have to go to a bank. We're not going to a bank. You know why? Because we're not getting a loan. You see, traditionally, and before you watch this part that I just told you, you probably believe that if you're gonna get into Airbnb, you have to have a lot of money down, you have to have great credit, and you gotta go get financing from a bank because you gotta purchase the property, right? Wrong. We don't have to worry about purchasing anything. In fact, like I said, I don't own a single piece of property. Why? Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to a landlord who owns the property. Now, where are we gonna go? Because a lot of people ask me this. Do we go on the side of the road and look for signs that say for rent? No. Do we go to mother, brother, sister, uncle, cousin and say, hey, do you have a property that I can use? No. Get on Zillow.com. These are people who are homeowners looking to rent a property already. They don't know what our business model is. They're just trying to rent their property. And then we step in with our model, and I'm going to share with you something, how it's so important to find landlords who are in pain. Why? Because the longer the person has had a property listed on Zillow, the more opportunity for us as Airbnb hosts we have. Why? Because they're paying their mortgage, they're paying their taxes, they're paying their utilities, and nobody is renting their property. So what do? We come to them with a solution. We're ready to rent your property. And in a minute, I'm gonna give you a pitch so you guys understand how this works. But more importantly, this video is gonna share with you why you don't have to go to a bank. And this is the thing. Purchasing a property means that we have to deal with banks, and banks can be stringent at times. On top of that, large down payment. Right now in America, the average down payment is $50,000 plus. The interest rates at the time of this video are above 6%. Credit scores requirements, 620, 640 or above to get mortgages, right? You don't have to worry about any of that with rental arbitrage. So what do you mean, Mike? You're telling me that I can run a property and I can have a bankruptcy, foreclosure, a judgment, a repossession, I can have charge-offs, I can have late payments, I can have 50 inquiries, and I can still get a rental property and put it on Airbnb? That's exactly what I'm saying. Let me explain. What I'm teaching my students is get an LLC. It's a limited liability company. Now you're a business. Now you're official. You didn't know that you can do this before, but it's very simple to get onto your Secretary of State and create a company. Go to ChatGPT and say, hey, create me 20 names for my Airbnb company. Boom, now you have a name. Go to your Secretary of State, whatever it is. Here in Florida, we have sunbiz.org, right? So we're gonna go set up a company. Very simple, third grader can do it. They make it so it's plug and play where you can't even push the wrong button. It's that simple. Now you're an official company. But here's the thing. Then you're gonna go to irs.gov and get your free EIN number. Don't pay for an EIN, it's free. Go to get your free EIN number. Why is this important? Because this is what we're gonna use when we go to landlords, not our SSN. So do I care if you have a 350 or an 850 personal credit score? No. Why? Because it doesn't matter. We're not using our social security number. We're using our EIN. But Mike, I don't have the business. I don't care if it's brand new. You started it yesterday. I'm going to show you a technique that you can get rental properties based on a LLC, not the length of time, not business credit built out yet. Literally, the company can be opened up one day and you're going to be able to do this. Now, purchasing a home, obviously, right? You got lenders. You've got credit score requirements. You've got your taxes have to be in order. You've got, 2 to 3 times the rent payment that you got to have an income showing in a bank account, right? With a rental property, you do not. The reason is because you're doing it through your LLC, not your SSN. So if you were going to rent a property for you personally, sure, there's going to be some criteria. But when you do it through a business, now you've opened up the door of a company, and this is much, much easier than to do it for even yourself personally because you're not using your social. All right, that being said, so rental arbitrage, again, is just renting a property. Now, we have a property, and here we are. We say to Mr. Landlord, hey, Mr. Landlord, we love your property. Here's a little bit about what we do. We're a corporate leasing company, and we have travel nurses and doctors and chiropractors, business professionals, CEOs, and we have some local patients right up there from the hospital. And what we're looking to do is rent your property and give them a nice place to stay. Sometimes they stay for 2 to 3 days. Sometimes they stay for 2 to 3 months, like our travel nurses. They're gonna stay a little bit longer, okay? We have no smokers and no pets, generally no little kids. We're gonna keep your property, Mr. Landlord, in for sale condition. condition the entire lease. Now, you can't say that with a traditional tenant because it's a crapshoot and 50-50 whether they take care of your asset or not. But we're going to keep your property in immaculate condition. Okay, we're not going to paint the back bedrooms, green and pink for the kids. Again, we're going to keep it in for sale condition. The thing about it, Mr. Landlord, is we're going to make sure we make your payments to you on time every single month without any issues. Why? Because our business relies on this property staying in great condition. And we take care of your asset like it's our asset. Now, the other thing that we do traditionally different from any traditional tenant is that we're going to take your property and we're going to make sure that this maintenance, anything under $1,000, we handle ourselves. We're not going to call you for if the remote batteries are missing or there's a garbage disposal issue. We're going to handle it ourselves. Traditional tenants, they're going to be calling you for everything. We're going to stay out of here. We're going to be the best tenants, Mr. Landlord, you've ever had. Just to show you we're extra serious, we want to do a 2-year lease with you. On record for a second, this is how you're going to pitch it. I'm not going to pitch the word Airbnb up front, not jumping in bed day one. We're going to pitch it as a corporate leasing company. We're going to solve the two biggest problems that this landlord is worried about. Number one, are they going to make the payments on time? And number two, is my asset going to get trashed? And if you solve both of those problems, that's the psychology of getting a landlord to say, yeah, sure, let's work together. Now, we used our LLC. We have not used our social. We put it under our LLC name. They send a traditional lease to us. We sign it under our LLC name and put a deposit down, and it's a wrap. And what I'm working with my students is my students don't pay their first month rent. Never have, never will. Not interested in a property where I got to put down the first month rent, okay? So I'm going to talk to you about what that means on a concession side, because you got to remember, these landlords are in pain. And the way to do that is when you're on Zillow, there's a button at the top called More. When you click that button on Zillow, you can scroll down. You'll see the little thing where it says, how long is days on Zillow? You want that to be as long as possible, 36 months. The longer the property has been on Zillow, the more likely that landlord will give us concessions of not only free rent on the front end, but also willing to work with us. Because again, these landlords are in pain because they have not been able to rent for several months. They're paying the mortgage, the taxes, the utilities, and they can't rent their property. We come to them with a solution. Hey, look, we're going to keep your property in for sale condition. Here's our tenants. Here's what our professional group of people that are coming in. And we're going to handle the maintenance on the property, small maintenance. Are you kidding me? What landlord would say no to that? Generally, Airbnb people that are coming in off of Airbnb, they're not even using the appliances because they're going out to eat a lot. So even the wear and tear on the appliances is less than a traditional tenant that uses it every single day in their house. See the difference? It's all in the pitch and the credibility that you have. Now, if you don't have any credibility, you have no Airbnbs, no references, no background, no credit, no business credit, of course, that's where Investor Mike comes in and works with my students. And that's why we're closing deals like this, okay? We're doing like this. We're getting deals done like this, right? Because I'm willing to share and put my neck out there so you guys can win. So that's kind of what I can help you with. Now, how do we have? A lot of people ask me, what about a property do I have to have a property right in the city? No, the cool thing about it is this. You do not even have to have a property in your city, let alone your zip code, let alone your state. Most of my students don't have properties in even the city and state they live in. I've got students that are in Las Vegas that have properties in Savannah. I got students that are in Savannah, got properties in California. I got students that are in Michigan, that got properties in Nashville. In fact, it's better to not be where you're at. And see, contrary to what people say, you should be within a 1 mile radius of no, you don't have to be in your backyard to do this. So what do? How is it that you run this business? Do you have a Wi-Fi connection on your phone? Yes, you can run this business. How do you do it? So what I do is I teach my students that we get professional Airbnb cleaners in the city. For example, if you live in Texas and you want to get your first property in Nashville, Tennessee, what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you find a professional cleaning crew in Nashville, Tennessee, because I got students there already, right? I would just reach out to the cleaning company there and say, hey, do you mind taking on another client? Sure, absolutely. So now think about this. You live in Texas, but your first property is in Nashville. How do we do it? Well, guess what? You're not going to your property. You're not hanging out at the property. So who's going to take care of the property? The cleaners are your best friends because the cleaners are in the property multiple times per week cleaning it. They're inside of it. They're your eyes on the property when you're not there. What about guest communication? It's gonna go right to your phone. And I set it up with an automation with my students where if there's questions, the bot answers it. Every once in a while, a question comes through your phone. But guess what? Who cares? You're running a business from your cell phone, guys. This takes 10 to 15 minutes a day at most. If you're working more than 15 minutes a day after I show you how to do this, you are overworking yourself. This is a very, very, very minimum. That's why we call it semi-passive, not complete passive. It's a couple minutes a day. But here's the thing. When I tell you how scalable it is, you can get a property today, next week, you can go get another property right down the street. There's no cross references. This is like basically a loophole in the system because you're not referencing how many rental properties you have. Whereas when you go to a bank, you got DTI. You got to worry about, property here. Do I qualify for the next property? Here, rent property. Tomorrow, next property, next property. You could literally go every single day and rent a new property off your LLC, and there's no cross reference. That's when I tell you can scale this thing to the moon. There's no limit, guys, of what you can create here. So think about it this way. It could be out of state. More preferably, actually it is. The cleaners are going to be the ones that are eyes on your property when you're not there. You're going to Amazon anything that's needed right to the front door. The cleaners are going to put in. Hey, cleaners reach out to you. Hey, we're short on toilet paper. Cool. Amazon it to your property. Cleaners take it and put it in the property for you. Do you have to go to the property? No. Do I have students who are living all the way across the other side of the country who have never seen their property in over a year? Yes. Never saw the property. Why? Because you don't have to go there. You're not hey, nice to meet you. Come on up. Here's my Airbnb. I'll see you in 4 days. No, we're not going to the property. Now, here's the benefit of having an Airbnb in different areas. How cool would it be to actually take you and your family, block off the calendar for a couple days and go stay in your own place and not have to worry about lodging at any, you know what I mean? How cool would it be to have a property in Nashville? You live in a different part. You can block off the calendar, take the family out for 5-6 days, block off your calendar. And now you've got a vacation spot as well. So there's so many benefits to this if you do it right. If you do it wrong and you pick the wrong location and the wrong property, of course, you're dead in the water because now you don't have enough guests showing up. And I've done so many videos on this to show you guys how do you get your occupancy high. It's all location. Think warmer climates. Think Texas, Florida, Arizona. People that are traveling for Airbnb go down, not usually up, except, the exception of ski resorts. Other than that, if I give you the states, I give you the cities, and I give you the zip codes to go, you're going to do well. You're going to do well, right? And we also have software that checks it. We'll be able to check in airdna.co to be able to check the numbers to make sure the occupancy is high, to make sure your average daily rate is high, to make sure you're not in saturation. We're going to do all this data and research first to make sure that we're picking the right location. I don't just tell my students, oh, that's a great place. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to check anything for you. I check it. I verify everything. And if I would get it for me and my family, then I'll give you the thumbs up and I'll say, hey, this is a great property for you. See the difference, right? You have the number one coach helping you, walking you through every step by step. So if this is interesting to you and you're like, hey, listen, I want to get into the game because I want to scale this. I want to build an empire for me and my family. What do? You put the word Airbnb in comments and I personally reach out to you and we'll set up a quick 10-minute call. No harm, no foul. If it's for you, great. If it's not, that's fine as well. But I want to get you into the game. I want you to show you how this works, where you don't have to own property. No credit is needed. Very little money on the front end, which is contrary to anything when you ever thought about real estate, right? A lot of money down, great credit. None of that is needed here, guys. I'm going to show you how to do this so you and your family can live a better life. Okay. That being said, put the word Airbnb in comments. This is the real truth about Airbnb arbitrage. It's unbelievable. And it's a smoking hot industry right now. By the time of this video, if you watch this a couple years from now, I guarantee it's going to be the same thing. Smoking even more. Why? Because Uber took over cabs and Airbnb is taking over hotels. Put the word Airbnb in comments if you really truly want to learn this game, and I'll personally reach out to you. My name is Investor Mike. Love you guys. Bye.